This is for you, Kings fans, wherever you may be. All the frustration and disappointment of the past is gone. The 45-year drought is over. The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
The long wait is over. After 45 years, the Kings can wear their crown. The Los Angeles Kings have won the Stanley Cup.
Brassard's pass up the middle, broken up by the Kings and brought back up to center ice. Here on the left side, Martinez over to Clifford. Right side, shot from there and a save and a rebound, score! Yes! Kings win the cup! Oh! The Kings, Martinez getting the rebound. Yes! The Kings have won the Stanley Cup! The Kings in the longest game in their history win it 3-2.
Cleared away by the Kings, picked up by Martinez. Martinez to Clifford. Feeds it right side to Foley with a shot. Save, rebound, score! Alec Martinez has won the Stanley Cup for the Los Angeles Kings. Alec Martinez on the rebound. And royalty reigns again in the NHL. The Kings have won their second Stanley Cup in 3 years.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages?
Can you tell I'm in a good mood, Jerry?
I think so. I think so. You know,
Woo!
little behind the curtain stuff. You know, from the moment that I popped in the room and we were wearing the same shill shirt.
Yeah,
Which Jeff then went and changed for. To the lovely Kings represented attire to go with that amazingly put together tribute to the two cups. Well done, sir.
Thank you,
but from the moment that I popped in the room and we were wearing the same shirt, I could see that you were in a good mood today. And
yes.
It looks like Scott is in a good mood also because he's come in swinging with a $2 super chat.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's I've seen the comments come in.
He loves that intro.
The intro of the Chicken Nuggets. Yes. Yes, 4 Rangers in 2014. I mean, Saturday was the anniversary, of course, of the original cup. It was also the anniversary of our buddy Rob Van Dam becoming a world champion for the first time. Also the anniversary of the loss of Dusty Rhodes. So, like I said on social media, Saturday's definitely a mixed bag, without a doubt. Yesterday, the anniversary of the original One Night Stand, which hearing Conrad and Eric watch that show yesterday on the anniversary was a head trip. Again, here we go with the shills, Aaron. Sorry. I can't put over Conrad and ad-free shows enough. That was so fun to listen to Eric. Hadn't watched the show before since being there.
Wow. Okay.
So the fact that Eric was there and Conrad was also at One Night Stand.
Nice.
Across the Hammerstein from him. So it was a very interesting perspective. And then, God, today, June 13th is it's one of the. You were there at Staples Center for both cups. I missed cup number 2 live because I was home with the kiddo who fell asleep during double overtime. I'm sitting here shaking him like a ragdoll. He just,
To be fair, that game was a long game, but to put
the longest game in Kings history.
For the fans out there, the Kings took the cup not just on June 13th. It was Friday the 13th.
Yes.
So we always kind of joked that Jason takes Stanley.
Yes. You and I have been to a Jason Takes event on a Friday night before, so
May
it's
13th, 2005. Jason Takes PWG.
So we are familiar with the hockey mask adorned villain on a Friday the 13th being part of something special. So it was so cool.
Brandon
definitely.
Says, what's up, guys? He hopes Top Gun and Lost Boys makes one or both of our lists.
I will say,
have to stay tuned and find out.
Yeah. It's one of those you have to just keep on watching. Although, very hard, especially with us PWG fans, to argue against Danger Zone. Goodness gracious. God damn it. Anyway,
and if you know, you know.
If you don't look that shit up, you will thank me later.
Michael Gonzalez says this is going to be a.
It really is. Now I'm gonna, as I have tried to do very much in this season more than any other year I've been on the air here. Full disclosure, I did not have these ranked at first, nor do I have, as of now, the list for 2 weeks from now ranked yet. Working on it. Scott, it's one of those things, I lost a lot of sleep after 1993, and you guys won the cup the following year. So, yeah, that it is what it is, brother.
One of the best things, in all honesty, before you get back to you talking about your rankings, was coming home from that first cup.
Yes.
And watching you drink out of that Stanley Cup, much like the pros do with the real ones. You'll watch the Days with the Cup vignettes that they do, and you'll see people eating cereal out of it.
Oh, yeah.
People drinking out of it.
I'm listening.
I'm sure there's plenty of footage that can't be shown on the air too. I'm sure there may have been a baby or two conceived with the wifey laying in the cup there, but or bent over the cup. But so that was one of the highlights for me, was watching you, and you're gonna do it again on the anniversary of the second cup. There you go. Taking a drink.
That is straight whiskey, not beer like the last time on the air. Good lordy. Oh,
Dr. Pepper.
Hey, not on Dr. Pepper either. Well, for me, I don't like that pepper myself, but I know you and the landlady are all about the Dr. Pepper, so as you have been since I've known the both of you, so that's okay. Yes. Oh man, God, that hits so hard just now. Woohoo! Good lordy.
You were saying regarding ranking your picks.
Yeah, so I did not have them ranked. It was just more so this one, I think, than the one we're doing in 2 weeks, which of course is John Cena's greatest matches, which that's like picking a favorite child for me. But
I just want to know how we're going to do 2 hours of a man we can't see.
It'll be a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But it is his anniversary of the company, so I'm sure we'll have a little bit of embellishment, just a smidge. More than likely. Highly likely in all likelihood if Aaron's watching. But this one was difficult because I don't – and again, JJ's always been much more of the music guy than I've ever been. So trying to decide which of these was my favorite other than – the top of the list was very difficult for me. And I originally copied it. I was like, is it okay if and he's like, I'm going to rib you. If you do, I'm going to give you shit for it on the air. I was like, I don't want to deal with that. Okay, fine. I'll rank them. And I sucked it up, and damn it, here I sit. So there you
go. The basic gist of his message was that we all know Jeff took a knock on his noggin a couple weeks ago. Yeah. His mental mindset right now, still recuperating from that. He didn't know if he could appropriately handle the ribbing on the air. And we didn't want it to turn into a situation that we had a couple weeks ago when Jeff and Statboy were going at each other over the air.
Yes.
We didn't want another one of those to happen, so we just figured, okay, he'll rank it. That means I won't have to rib him for it, and we can just move right along. Make that left when we come to the fork in the road, Kermit.
Yeah, that's right. I will say this. it's really one of those where I love a lot of most of these soundtracks, which is why they make a top 10 in the first place. But I honestly, 2 through 9, I could put on a movie soundtrack. Wow. One shot, and I'm already stumbling. Here we go. This is going to be a good 2 hours. Exactly. First of all, it's subjective, very much so.
I think we're just going to leave this up for pretty much the entire episode.
Yes.
Because these lists are seriously subjective. And I'll get more in depth into mine when we get to my half of the show.
Yeah.
But for real.
If you guys have not seen a proper DADS, because we haven't done one in a couple weeks, because we did 2 weeks of Acid DADS last week because I was down at Disney, and the week before because it was already scheduled for such.
Well, partially because we wanted to make sure we altered the schedule so that we could get the Cena matches on Cena's anniversary.
Yes, but it did work out with Disney because,
without question.
100%. Trying for me to help run my part of the room with a phone would have been a disaster. So, especially trying to do different graphics would have been just complete cluster. And it was already enough of a cluster as it was that day down at the most magical place of all time.
Considering where you were and how batshit crazy it could have gotten.
Yeah.
Last week was a breeze walk.
I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed watching it back. I was surprised at a couple things. I was surprised at the fact that it went so smooth for the hour it did. I was surprised at my ease of navigating the park with the phone operating. I mean, we had, I think, one blip early because my brother called me right as we started the show. Other than that, smooth sailing the whole way. Yeah. And it was by far the last mild weather day we've had out here in Southern California since. God damn, the air quality is crap here right now. I don't know. It wasn't too bad outside of a while ago. Right now it's 84, and the air quality is not advising me don't go outside if you don't want to die. Whereas yesterday, I couldn't step outside without a freaking felt like I was walking through a plate of smog. It was so bad. Like pretty much from the moment I got off the bus Tuesday morning up until right now, it's been completely shit out here.
Yeah.
So got lucky with Disney, very much so. Anyway, so with this list, I can really make a movie soundtrack playlist and just randomize all of these throughout the playing time, except for, of course, the number 1, which we'll get to at the end of my list. Yeah. So number 10 for me is gonna probably rankle the Renegade here for a couple of reasons. Number 1, he's never seen the movie. Number 2, there is only really one song that everybody freaking knows from this movie, to the point where they just want to shoot themselves in the head when they hear the opening notes of it. So let's just go ahead and get out of the way right now. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, again, if you were alive in 1997, if you were a teenager like JJ, actually, JJ may have been already out of the teens by then, but maybe not.
Yeah, I was. That was 97, correct?
Yes. Yeah. You were 21. Okay,
well, I was 20, 21, depending on month of release.
So you were old enough to be on a cruise ship if you wanted to.
And I would not have allowed Rose to leave me hanging off the edge.
That's right.
Because damn it, even though I've never seen it, I know there was more than enough room.
That's right. Damn it. It's funny. They even brought it up on an interview with him and Brad Pitt and somebody else, and Leo just refused to comment. Just nope, no comment. Because he knows she was a bitch. Anyway, there is more to this soundtrack than just Celine Dion singing "My Heart Will Go On." Lord knows it is what it is. It is one of the most beautiful songs in the history of cinema, in the history of music, and Celine Dion, of course, just belt stuff out because that's what Celine did. My parents, damn. Yeah, let's see, 97. Let's see, this freshman year. Actually, yeah, I did not. I saw it in theaters. I probably saw it with my mom, honestly, because, I'm 14 years old. I think I had a girlfriend at that point. My freshman year, sophomore year, I did. Anyway, but there's so much underneath this as far as the music played throughout as the dialogue is going. You've got, the music playing behind when you first see the opening credits. There's when Rose is telling her story at first, the Distant Memories track. You've got the music playing when the captain says to Mr. Murdoch, take her to sea, and then that big swelling moment, and Jack jumps off, woo-hoo-hoo, and the whole thing. Just the entire soundtrack of this movie just hits. And you figure you've got James Cameron, directing the movie. It's really his vision. You've got James Horner, who is a freaking soundtrack genius. He's done so many things over the years, and I'm sure we'll get to him later on in my list, probably in your list too. But I just, again, if you haven't seen this movie, you know how it ends. Effing duh. But the story is so much more amplified by the music behind it, and not just the My Heart Will Go On, because yes, of course, it is the love track of the movie, and it is a great film. It is a difficult sit if you've never seen it and you don't have a lot of patience, because it's, having seen it when it first came out, it was easier for me to go back and rewatch. And of course, my girlfriend for many, many years, my fiance for many, many years, loves this movie to this day. So it was a little bit easier for me. But I just love the music, and I always have.
See, we've established I haven't seen this movie.
Right.
But there are two things I will always remember connected to this movie, which may subconsciously play into part of why I haven't seen it yet.
Okay,
number one is the story that one of my old friends, Toad, used to tell.
Oh,
he had gone to the movie theater to see this movie, and he was with either just a female or a female and somebody else. But in any event, he jokingly turns to them and he tells them, the ship sinks in the end. And the kid behind them took his money, shoved it back into his pocket, and left the line.
Are you?
Like Homer Simpson coming out of that movie theater talking about how Darth Vader was Luke's father. Like, you little uneducated piece of monkey poop. This is based on historical fact. Did you really think that James Cameron was going to change history? Why? So we could get Titanic 2?
Well, never mind. Never mind.
And the other thing that I always tied to this, which could subconsciously play into why I haven't seen it, is the original Kings of Comedy.
Uh-oh.
And I believe it was Steve Harvey on stage.
Steve. Yeah, it was Steve.
It's like, what are we sitting through this long-ass dry movie for? We know what happens. Bring on the water. The band kept playing while the ship going down. Cool in the Gang would have been unplugging, getting the hell out of there. Like, I think subconsciously those two things are why I have yet to see this movie, because when you have lasting memories like that connected to a movie and you haven't even seen the film yet, do you really want to mess that up?
Well, okay, so the first one...
Seriously, do you?
The first one...
Those are great.
Okay, pardon me for making you go back and remember more about Toad. I apologize in advance. How old was this kid that put his money in his pocket and turned around?
I don't know, because I wasn't there. I'm going to say teen or younger.
Okay.
We'll say between 10 and 14.
Okay, so
just for argument's sake.
10 and 14, I'll give a little bit of grace period, because I don't remember learning about Titanic until I was in high school, for me.
Okay, fair, but it's one of those things. It's like it's established.
Right. But yeah, the other one, having Steve Harvey just rag on it. Steve Harvey is one of those, you must listen to the gospel of Steve Harvey. You must. So if he's telling you he'd have got the hell out of there, you get the hell out of there. You don't even bother. So I understand. I do. But there will come a time, and this list is ever growing over here. Once I get through at least a good chunk of this list, we got to sit your ass down and watch Titanic.
I know the day will come eventually.
And maybe when you're in your rocking chair and an old man.
Whether I do it for chick flicks one year.
There you go.
Or if I do, movies based on historical,
At the end of the day, it is a disaster movie, if you want to quantify it as that too. So
Brendan says that Steve's Judge show is good, and
I've
Big
only
G is in the building.
Big
What
G
up,
here.
G?
Big G. So I'm not seeing Judge Steve Harvey's show yet, except one episode. It was Kevin Sullivan versus J.J. Dillon. Look it up. It happened.
All right.
I swear to God.
We're off in the weeds.
That's okay.
Jeff, what is your number 9?
Number 9 is one we can definitely both agree on. I don't know if it's on your list, because, again, we keep in surprises around here. But if it's not, I'll be very, very surprised.
Okay.
We both adore this movie. We both adore the music, especially the title track, Somewhere in My Memory. God, we talk about that at Christmas time. It's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
But the entire score here is good. The score's great, and you've got not only the music behind the dialogue, scanned by a kindergartner, the music playing behind, Marvin Harry's shenanigans, but actual songs. White Christmas by the Drifters, which I had never heard that version of White Christmas until I saw Macaulay Culkin, lip syncing it in the mirror. It's one of my favorites. Now, to the point where I am glad Michael Bublé and Shania Twain did it as a cover, or whatever you want to call that, if you will, because I actually played that version, Michael's and Shania's version of White Christmas, on my Christmas must play, and basically after Halloween, or depending on when I get the hair up my ass about it. Please Come Home for Christmas. I like the version in the movie, but me and Don Henley. That is what that is.
Yeah, the version. I mean, it's their song, so
Exactly. Carol the Bells. Play any version of Carol the Bells, and I'm good with it. Mel Torme's Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas in this. I like Mel's version, but it's much like Judy's, where muddle through somehow. It's like if they played the whole song, I'd be like, because I'm not a fan of the muddle through part. And then We Wish You Merry Christmas at the end is good, but not on the soundtrack as far as the actual album, but in the movie, Rock on the Christmas Tree, of course. Brenda Lee is in the big scene where he's doing all the different, shadows. But then Run, Run, Rudolph by Chuck Berry is not on the soundtrack, but damn it, it sure is in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Both movies. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I think it is in both.
Well, I know, because I know in both movies, the airport itself is that running through the airport, but I'm not sure if Run Run Rudolph is in the second one. I'll have to go back and watch it. Darn, excuse to watch Home Alone too. Anyway. Oh God, how was that? Well, I mean, he's rewatching it, so it must be good.
I think what he's saying is that he's rewatching the saga.
Oh, yeah.
Starting with the 93 Jurassic and rewatching everything.
Yeah, I still have not seen the second Jurassic World at all.
And Fallen Kingdom.
And Jurassic Park 3 the whole way through, so it'll be a must do. All right, number 8. Again, one song for sure from this movie. I'm pretty sure.
Cut you off real quick. We just got a $10 super chat from Big G.
Thank you, G.
Every little bit helps. Thank you very much, G.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. If it wasn't so much of a pain in the ass to get the whiskey back, I'd toast you for that. But it's
Big G. Since you threw a $10 super chat in, while Jeff is waxing philosophical here, what is your favorite movie soundtrack of all time? And then when Jeff gets to his number 1, I'll throw your favorite of all time up there along with him.
Honorable mention, by the way, Jurassic Park, just throughout the saga. So good. So good. Again, my number 8, it's one of those, one song for sure. And I'm pretty sure you've seen this. And if you haven't, forgive me. But I thought we watched it together at one point. I know my ex and I watched it more than once. It's time of my life. I mean, it's, if you know anything about Patrick Swayze, if you know anything about, Jennifer Grey, you've heard that song with them dancing to it, right? So it's just, it's very, and there's only 12 songs on the original soundtrack. None of them original to my knowledge, except maybe She's Like the Wind by Patrick Swayze. I mean, that sounds pretty original to me, but Be My Baby by the Ronettes, which is just a classic, that era, track. Hungry Eyes by Eric Carmen, Stay by Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs, Yes by Mary Clayton, You Don't Know Me, which is so, I love that song to pieces, by the Blow Monkeys, Hey Baby by Bruce Chanel, Overload by, oh God, I can never say Alfie's last name right, I apologize, Alfie. Zappacosta, I believe is how you say it. Love is Strange by Mickey and Sylvia. Where Are You Tonight by Tom Johnson. In the Still of the Night by the Five Satins. And, of course, Time of My Life. I've had Time of My Life by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warren. Time of My Life is one of those. It was a great, powerful ballad, but it really wasn't like seeped into our collective consciousness like until after Dirty Dancing and that scene with Jennifer and Patrick. And you know what? It's funny. I never watched Dirty Dancing until after I got together with Dylan's mom. So God, that was post 2005. But I don't even think I actually watched it until post 2011 with you, living with you guys.
Yeah.
So it took her.
I've only seen it once, maybe twice, start to finish.
Right.
And that is one of the main reasons why I didn't watch it for so long.
Right.
Not because of my sisters, because I'm an only child.
Right.
But when I was a kid growing up, like that was every teenage girl's go-to Friday, Saturday night movie. Well, they would go to Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, The Warehouse, whatever. They would rent the movie for the weekend, have slumber parties with their girlfriends, and they would watch this movie.
He done said The Warehouse in 2022. Look that shit up, y'all.
People would be watching it all the time, so it was so overhyped. And you know me when a movie gets overhyped.
Oh, yeah.
Got another $5 super chat from Scott. Soundtrack he likes from a movie I need to review is Shallow Hal.
Shallow Hal's soundtrack is good. I don't know about the movie, but I do like the soundtrack of Shallow Hal.
I'm willing to give just about anything Jack Black a try because he is funny as all get out.
Yeah.
He is the only reason I am actually willing to sit down and watch the Neverending Story Part 3, which to this day I have never seen because it's one of his earliest movies.
Yep.
So I'm willing to actually give that movie a try because of Jack Black.
Yeah, it's rough.
That says everything about Jack's acting for me.
Yeah, because three's rough. So, as much as the show that never really made it because of the freaking YouTube hit bites on or whatever, the fact that the scene from Part 1 is still the F you Jeff moment, or F you Meacham, I should say. 2 is okay. 3's rough. Really rough. Yeah,
I
like I said,
enjoyed 2 because I like Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah, and see, that's why I watched 2, because I like Brandis and Sequest. And, of course, when I got together with the ex, God, Jonathan Brandis. Yeah, I know. So, but 3's
I
tough.
like Jonathan Brandis in Sidekicks.
There you go.
Before Sequest DSV.
Yes.
Just a little planting of a seed here. Sidekicks will be covered in August when we discuss some more of my favorite movies for my birthday month.
Yes. And why? Because Chuck Norris kicked everybody's ass. That's why.
Dude, you've got Chuck Norris, you've got Beau Bridges, you've got Jonathan Brandis, you've got Joe Piscopo, and you've got the lovely Danica McKellar.
Seriously, is there anything any more 80s teen star than freaking Jonathan Brandis and Danica McKellar? Let's go ahead and just throw that in right there. Or 90s teenage, whatever. Yeah.
Candace Cameron?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, Candace wasn't a teen till the 90s, but I get what you're going there. But yeah, just Dirty Dancing's so good. And this one is, I think, the most recent one coming up here is the most recent one on my list. And a lot of it is to do with the fact that I waited so long to see it, not out of design, not out of necessity, but just because I didn't have a chance to go see it in the theater. However, I kept hearing about it from my mother, and I believe from your daughter's mother, how wonderful it was and how I had not seen this, considering who all's in it and how much of a fan I was of the subject. It took me a long time, but damn it, The Greatest Showman, wow. I mean, again, it's a musical, so we all know JJ's not, it's not his particular shot of whiskey, if you will, or shot of Fireball, since we'll go ahead and make it relevant to Jay. But I love this movie, and I love the soundtrack. And, of course, The Greatest Show is, just what it is. It's a title track for a reason, but there's so many good. I mean, Hugh Jackman, Kiala Seattle, Zac Efron, and Zendaya are all on that track. Just that one alone. A Million Dreams, and the reprise, Come Alive, The Other Side, Never Enough, This Is Me, which, God, This Is Me is classic. Yeah, you know what, Michael? I was surprised too, even though I am a huge fan of the circus and the bar. At least I was before they actually started, toning it down. And again, I don't disagree with the toning down of the circus because God knows animals got rough treatment throughout their whole existence. But it took me a while. Rewrite the Stars was so good. The entire 11 track. It's only 40 minutes. The entire soundtrack. When you figure for a musical, the entire soundtrack is under 40 minutes. That's saying something. But the story is great enough. But man, when you have a cast like this, who Hugh Jackman proved his chops on the singing part years before this. Zac Efron, if you're a Disney fan, you know that dude can sing. Same with Zendaya. But yeah, just all of them coming together, and it was a great show. It was one of the greatest movies in recent memory. So I loved it, and I am glad I got to see it. I do regret not paying the whatever the hell movies charge these days because I don't go very often. But and I have a Regal card, so I don't have to worry about it. But I regret not seeing it with the big, IMAX style screen and the big surround sound. But it's pretty damn good here in the living room with the big old screen TV. So
there you go.
This next one, as good as the movie is at number 6 for me, the soundtrack is the movie, really. And that's what I was doing my research on it, and that's basically what the consensus is. The soundtrack is the movie more so than the movie is the movie.
Okay.
So this is one of those where I didn't see it till much, much later. In college in a film is lit or something class. And I don't think it may not have been that because I don't know if this was a novel or not. Forgive me. But yeah, it's Simon and Garfunkel. They did everything, and there's only 8 songs on the one side and 6 on the other. I mean, that's how old this is. It's actually on a vinyl. Is when the soundtrack first came out. So, Mrs. Robinson. Is there any more iconic, quote unquote title track? It's not really a title track. It's not called The Graduate. But, when you hear Mrs. Robinson, it doesn't matter who you're with. When you hear Mrs. Robinson, you think of the older woman, the mom, whatever you call it, seducing the teenager, the younger guy, the term cougar becoming a thing. And man, for this generation, definitely Dustin Hoffman was that role. But for our generation, Jay, as far as, coming into our own, Finch and Stifler's mom, I mean, very much the epitome of the Mrs. Robinson gimmick. So the fact that they used that track on American Pie for Stifler's mom just makes all the sense when you think about this movie. But yeah, Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, Mrs. Robinson, Scarborough Fair, April Comes She Will. There you go. The Big Bright Green Pleasure Machine. There's so much good, just Simon and Garfunkel on this track, the soundtrack, excuse me. Just a great, great listing. Again, it kind of, like I said, when you break it down, it's like Simon and Garfunkel did this whole thing, and it's dispersed all throughout the movie. Without this soundtrack, does this movie really hit near as hard to home as it just would just being a regular story? I don't think it does.
No, I agree, and I still haven't seen this start to finish.
Right.
I've seen most of it.
Right.
But yeah, without Mrs. Robinson specifically, this movie just falls flat. It's like Darth Vader walking the hallways without the dun 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 dun.
Yes. By the way, for me, honorable mention, the Star Wars saga. Let me just throw it out there right now because it's not on my list, but man, especially now that it's so a part of the Disney family and you hear it all the time going down there now, I can't not have the Star Wars songs in my head at some point or another when I visit or whenever. Also, the Star Trek movies, underrated with soundtrack for me.
Okay. Halfway through your list, sir. Where we go next?
So number 5, is a bit of a cop-out, and I apologize, because I did rank it like I was asked, but it was very hard for me to narrow it down to just one. If I had to, gun to my head, blow my head away, it's definitely the first movie of this particular group that I would choose as the one. But there's some damn good music in the second one. Third and fourth, the music itself is still good, but I'm kind of like, number 1 and 2 are better. But I just love the music throughout the original Batman movie anthology. I think you've got Danny Elfman writing at least the first 2. That iconic Batman track is just, it's iconic, the music throughout Batman Returns with the Christmas overlays and the different swells of the music is just so good. I actually like the title tracks from Forever and Batman Robin. Dun, 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 dun. I actually like those almost as much as the original Elfman track. I really do. I think they're so good. And again, when I was coming into my own as a teenager, as a person, as a park goer, I heard the Forever track a lot more than I did anything else going to Six Flags because of the Riddler's Revenge being, built at that time and, playing throughout the DC/Gotham City area. So I heard all of these quite a bit. And, again, working for Six Flags and having it right down the street as long as I've had it, you heard those songs a lot. So again, gun to my head, pick one, definitely the first one. But
see, and here's a hot take for you.
Okay.
I'd pick the soundtrack to either the third or fourth movie.
Okay.
Because no disrespect to Prince or the Elfman scores.
Right.
But if you want to talk about heavy hitters on a soundtrack.
Right.
Forever's got U2's Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me. Seal's Kiss from a Rose.
So
Method
good.
Man's The Riddler. The Batman and Robin soundtrack has Smashing Pumpkins, The End is the Beginning is the End. It's got Bone Thugs and Harmony, Look Into My Eyes. It's got Jules' Foolish Games.
Yes.
I honestly feel as far as the soundtracks go for these movies, as the movies got potentially worse,
yes,
figuratively speaking, because we all know how much I love Part 3.
Oh yeah,
the soundtracks got better.
Yeah, I think for me it was more of I ranked it based on the original score stuff. You talk about the overall soundtrack, Jesus,
I've
Forever
been
and
noticing
Robin.
that. I think I've been noticing you've been going a lot more on score, which is good because that means we're not going to have any duplicates.
I like that. That's
I'm going more off of the soundtrack,
which of course,
as opposed to the scores.
Right.
But Prince notwithstanding, I mean, yeah, you've got the Bat Dance, you've got Party Man, you've got Scandalous, but his was more of like a 9-track EP than it was a full album even.
Right, because they didn't release it at the same time. They released the original, the original movie motion picture soundtrack with the big, the bat logo and the against the moon in the sky. But then Prince, got his own thing there. Like you said, it was a 9-track thing, this big giant purple vinyl thing, or cassette if you were upgraded by then. If you're upgraded to cassette, we are. Shut the hell up.
And I don't think Returns had an official soundtrack. It only had the motion picture score.
I believe you're right. But yeah, again, you had the Elfman theme from the first one, but man, the opening, I mean, there's no real dialogue in that opening scene with the Cobblepots. It's just music, and it just tells the story so well. It's very much Danny Elfman's like getting ready to write Nightmare Before Christmas. Let me just go ahead and throw all this shit out of here right now because this is just going to be just as good.
Yeah.
Because
he already was immersed in Christmas land.
Yeah, I mean,
so here he is composing this Christmassy themed score.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If I could hop in the DeLorean using the shirt you're wearing and go back to a movie set, it would definitely be Gotham City in 1991-92, without a doubt. It would be so cool to see all Christmassy. By the way, you mentioned the Smashing Pumpkins on on the Batman and Robin soundtrack. Let me, again, like I did on social media, congratulate the NWA and New Japan. Man, what a Saturday night they had and Sunday night. Jesus, they kicked ass. And Trevor Murdoch with the 10 pounds of gold again. So good for him, man. You know, again, Cardona hurt, you know, is what it is, but you know, he'll be back. Torn bicep is comebackable. So, all right, number four. I did choose one movie of a group. Okay. Because I do prefer, movie-wise, the sequel is almost as good. Almost. 3 is okay. 4 is the drizzling shits. Just terrible. And the one that came out later but still connected to the original story is a good score. But is there any more, and again, you're going to fight me because you're not a fan of the Blue Boy, but is there any more iconic superhero movie theme than John Williams? I don't think there is, personally. Superman, the movie, and again, this is the 40th anniversary cover because when they remastered this, I actually got the tracks on this from 2018. My goodness, as great as they sounded 40 years ago, they sound even better. As great as Superman the movie was back in '78, as great as it has been for me as a kid growing up and as an adult raising my kid, the opening credits, I think, are just an integral part of the presentation. I've always believed that. I always will believe that. And, you know, 2 does the same thing. The same exact, you know, song. You know, they tried a cover thing in 4, and it was just bad. I mean, 4 is fucking awful anyway. But Quest for Peace is bad. Even the John Williams music ripoff is so bad. That's how bad this damn movie is. They did try to make it right with Returns. God, the version in Returns I think is so good. But yeah, that original John Williams score from Superman, I think it's one of those, he had just done Star Wars the year before. So how do you Jaws
a couple years prior to that.
Yeah, you figure within 3 years, John Williams has done Jaws, Star Wars, and Superman. Pardon him if he walks freaking bow-legged with his balls hanging so low. Yep, that's right. I did those. Look at me. You know, freaking working for Spielberg, George Lucas, and Richard Donner. So good. I can't say, and again, I know you and the Blue Boy aren't exactly peanut butter and jelly, but the score, the music itself is just by God believable.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
I can't argue with you on that one. Like, it was a damn good soundtrack.
Yeah. It's one of those, you know, like the movies, like the character or not, man. You put that song on, you're freaking up on your feet, ready to face whatever the hell. Number 3 is one of those, I don't know if you saw it till more recently, and by recently I mean the last, 11 years since we lived together. But I love, again, the music, I love the soundtrack, the songs, and I love the score both, which is why it's so high. And it features a guy you talk about on the regular on a Thursday night. Moulin Rouge from I think it was 97 this movie came out. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure it is. Again, you don't really know about, even Nicole Kidman's singing chops are not really evident until this movie comes out.
Yes.
She did an amazing job on this. Ewan McGregor, again, this was, 2001 the movie came out. So at this point, we're past episode 1, The Phantom Menace for Ewan, and I believe we're already past Eyes Wide Shut for Nicole. That's how deep in the career
Eyes Wide Shut, I believe, was like 97, 98.
Oh, right. So, but yeah, just Lady Marmalade, Christina Aguilera et al. Goodness gracious. That song alone was enough to get people, Christina Aguilera, Little Kim, Maya, and Pink on the same track. let's have a girl power moment here, shall we? Can we go ahead and get the ladies all up in this shit? Nature Boy by David Bowie. Again, David Bowie, anything on a soundtrack, just go ahead and take my money. Just all the money on my wallet. Thank you very much. Because We Can by Fatboy Slim. Sparkling Diamonds, which is one of the songs in the movie. Nicole Kidman sings it along with Jim Broadbent, Carolyn O'Connor, Natalie Mendoza, and Laura Mulcahy, who, again, great track. Your Song, an Elton John track performed by Ewan McGregor and Alessandro Safina. Great. Rhythm of the Night, another great song, but Valeria here on this one. Diane Warren's song originally. Children of the Revolution, a Mark Bolan song. One Day I'll Fly Away. Diamond Dogs. Kind of a medley. It's called Elephant Love Medley with All You Need Is Love. I Was Made for Loving You. One More Night. Pride in the Name of Love. Don't Leave Me This Way. Silly Love Songs. Up Where We Belong. Heroes. I Will Always Love You. And Your Song. All in one crazy freaking hodgepodge track there by Nicole, Ewan, and Jamie Allen there on that one. Just Come What May, again, Nicole Kidman, Ewan McGregor, El Tango de Roxanne, just so there. And again, I defy you to find a bet. Yep. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Like, if you have a good movie that has a great soundtrack, it's probably going to have John's name on it. I mean, that's just the way it is. So good. And it occurs to me that the dog is loose and we have the repairman in the house. So I better go get through these next two pretty quick. I just thought about that. All right. Moulin Rouge, again, I don't know if you actually saw us all the way through. I don't know if we talked about that or not.
I've seen Moulin Rouge all the way through now.
Okay.
When it first came out, it was one of those things that I resisted because me and musicals.
Yes.
I do have a Moulin Rouge memory prior to seeing it all the way, though, because back in my younger days, I did what some people of my generation did and did the whole movie hop thing.
Aha!
So Moulin Rouge is the movie that we went into to kill time before our second feature started. And I forget exactly what was happening, but it was one of those really dramatic, intense scenes between Ewan and Nicole. Oh. And it took everything in my power not to blurt out, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope."
You're bad. You're terrible. Oh, man. I can definitely see you doing that, though, without, especially now. I mean, God, it's so... I'm so, like I said a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it, I'm so glad we've got new Star Wars and new Star Trek content in roughly the same 24-hour period each week, which is just awesome. All right, number 2, again, is one of those cop-out things, as is number 1, so feel free to shoot me if you want. But again, gun to head, I'm picking the first one of both number 2 and number 1. But there is a lot of good stuff in the entire saga of Rocky Balboa. I mean, Gonna Fly Now, of course, is just so good. It's very hard to argue that Gonna Fly Now, Eye of the Tiger, my personal history with Burning Heart, as we talked about recently with our buddy Sam, Hearts on Fire, Living in America by James Brown, Shea Butter Baby, it's all good. Everything on here is good. But the first one, I think the first and maybe even the second one more, Rocky 2, you figure you've got Gonna Fly Now, but my favorite scene, I think, throughout the saga is after Adrian comes out of her coma in part 2. After she's had the baby and she's had all the blood loss and she's just, coming out of, having the stress-induced coma with the pregnancy, and they're just sitting there, decide what to do next. And, Rocky's just unshaven, just a mess. Rocky 3's damn good, of course. Got the Hulk friend and Mr. T. But in Rocky 2, he's just a mess. He hasn't slept. He's been either at her side in the hospital bed or in the church praying in the chapel down at the end of the hospital. And Adrian looks at him. She goes, "You can do one thing for me, though." And he goes, "What's that?" And she goes, "Win." And he perks up, and she goes, "Win." And Mickey, "What are we waiting for?" Ding.
Let's go, Rock.
Ding. Dun, 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 dun. It's like, oh, shit, here we go. It's on now. And of
I'm
course,
sorry, but when the Penguin gives you an order, you listen, goddammit.
Fair enough. What are we waiting for? Sorry, Burgess. My bad. And just that the entire music from that point on until he defends, or until he wins the title from Apollo at the end of the fight, the entire music throughout that part is just everything. So I can almost say Rocky 2 actually would probably supersede the first Rocky, as far as the soundtrack goes for me, because it's so good. And again, the introduction of Eye of the Tiger cannot be undersold for any reason, especially to this little Hulkamaniac.
Without question.
100%.
So, Jeff, we have heard 9 of your selections. What is your number 1?
Well, the reason I giggled as much as I did when we first came on camera together, and we were wearing the same blue version of the Jeff Meacham Network shirt, is because what else could my favorite be? I mean, really.
Well,
Alan
considering
Silvestri's,
when we did our top 10 musical moments from non-musical movies, you completely forgot Johnny B. Good. I wasn't sure if you were going to have it on your list this time.
Anyway, yeah, you're a dick. Anyway, God, the theme from Back to the Future, the different iterations of it throughout the trilogy, Johnny B. Good by Marty McFly and the Starlighters, ZZ Top in Part 3. God, the music of Back to the Future, I think, if there was any movie soundtrack or any movie score that will bring me down from rage, ginger snap mode to calm tranquility, let's just let Jeff have a moment here, it's Back to the Future. I adore everything about these movies and the music, the people, and everything. And the music of these movies, especially the first one, obviously, definitely brings back so many good memories. And I think for me, that's what's important about a soundtrack, is not only the importance to the movie itself or the movies themselves, but what they make us feel as moviegoers, as fans. Thank you, Brendan. As fans. And Back to the Future, from start to finish, the entire trilogy, just every note of music, every song just pops for me.
That's fair. That's very fair. I cannot hate on your list. Like I said, most of what you had were scores,
Right.
which is great, because that just means we're not going to have any
Duplications. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna.
Geez.
Yeah, I blocked a bunch of these, but for some reason they're popping back in the same ones, and I'm getting an error occurred. But
Probably. Once you block them in here, it's okay. It should be okay. I will.
If you can scroll up to Brendan's comment from 331, just to put this out for everyone.
Okay.
And click on that. That way I can go over to the brand and start uploading my photos.
Yes.
And we can talk about that for a minute. And then after that one, he had one about a movie that he doesn't think that we'd have.
Okay.
That you can do. But, Stand By Me, Top Gun, and The Lost Boys, believe it or not, Brendan, out of those 3 movies, I have only seen one of them, and that is Top Gun.
You've not seen Lost Boys, really?
No.
It's, you know what, I can't shine you. I just saw it within the last year thanks to Travis, so I can't, you know. But Stand By Me, I've seen a bunch of times. I love Stand By Me.
So, I mean, I get it. Top Gun is definitely an amazing soundtrack, and I did contemplate it, but as I start going through my list, I think you'll understand why it's absent from my list.
Okay.
As I tried to, number one, have a wide variety of things and not just, one specific type of music or genre.
Right.
And then I also tried my damnedest, no animated
Yes.
and no musicals.
Yeah.
Now I'll admit I bent the rule a little bit on the musical one.
Okay.
But I tried my damnedest to stick to those rules. Now, as far as one that won't make any of the lists, honorable mention for me, John.
I was going to say.
Brandon, for real. Like, I love the Queen of the Damned soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
The stuff that Jonathan Davis wrote, Not Meant for Me, Forsaken, System, Redeemer, and Slept So Long. Those songs were just amazing. And then when you factor in the fact that he got Wayne Static, David Draymond, Chester Bennington, Jay Gordon, and Marilyn Freaking Manson to sing the songs.
Right.
Chester's System is by and far my favorite because I was a huge Linkin Park fan, still am.
Oh, wow.
And then you add in the Deftones, Changing the House of Flies. You add in Disturbed's Down with the Sickness. You add in Static X's Cold. And it's just a tremendous soundtrack. So,
and again, that's
give
one of those.
Us a little bit more credit there, Brendan, because it is definitely an honorable mention of mine.
It's one of those. I hadn't seen Queen of the Damned until you, so that was, that's why it was not included because I didn't have it. So,
yeah.
All right, where are we at here? Let's see. There we go.
So that is one of my honorable mentions.
Just trying to see where we were. There we go. Oh, Joe's here. Hello, Joe. Oh, okay, so Big G, he couldn't think of his favorite originally, but now he's going with the original Space Jam. Not a bad choice. Space Jam's got a cool little group of songs to it. I dig it.
And Big G, it'll be coming up in a little bit.
There you go. See?
But before I get to my main list, I do have one other honorable mention.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Right?
And I have to admit, I hemmed and hawed over Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh, okay.
I really did. But when you go Mr. Blue Sky ELO, when you've got Southern Nights by Glenn Campbell, when you've got My Sweet Lord by George Harrison, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, Come a Little Bit Closer, Surrender by Cheap Trick. It's like, how can you argue that this is quite possibly the better of the two soundtracks?
Very, very tough call, but yeah, I would say Part 2 is better.
I mean, it's got a Beatle. There's the selling point for me right there.
Hard to argue with the Beatles with Uncle Jay, as we know. So. And
ironically, it comes right after Southern Nights, which the first couple times I heard it, I thought that was a George Harrison song too.
Oh.
I didn't realize it was Glenn Campbell the first couple times I heard it because it totally sounded like something George would have put out.
Oh. Okay. Okay, well, Brendan has a good reason why Stand By Me was special for him, which makes complete sense. It was special because it was filmed by where I grew up. Dead Body and Leech was filmed by a friend of my family. Oh, okay, well, there you go. So that's a cool. That's a much easier, not much easier. That's cool when there's a connection like that to a movie and the music resonates much more because it's a personal connection. That's why, again, Back to the Future, there's so many personal connections with me over the years. So I get that. That's awesome.
It's a good one. I mean, yeah, when there's something near you that has that movie connection, like we were able to go and see the Myers house and all of those houses. We were able to see the Back to the Future houses. You've now been to the Twin Pines Mall. We've gone to where Good Burger was, or I have. There's so much filming locations. Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith, I stayed away from scores, but you're right. Those are good. And the Country Bear soundtrack, I almost put that in here, but I thought people would be like, really, Renegade?
Yeah.
I don't think people I don't think there's that many people out there that have the love and appreciation of that movie the way me and my daughter do.
Right.
So I avoided that one, but yes, that definitely gets an honorable mention from me, even though I don't have a graphic ready for it.
Yeah. And honestly, the fact that we're doing the shows we are in December, as far as the Disney soundtracks not included in the parks, it's like if we were including the parks, every Country Bear show version.
But we do include the movies, so the soundtrack for the movie will be open for that 2022.
Yes.
And unless something drastic happens, there will be some representation of that on my top 10 list.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of my top 10.
Yes, sir.
We are going to come out swinging with number 10.
All right.
Right. This movie features a soundtrack that is just literally a who's who of classic rock. American Graffiti.
I almost did this one. Damn. Oh.
I mean, you look there, man. You've got Rock Around the Clock. You got 16 Candles, Runaway, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, That'll Be the Day, At the Hop, She's So Fine, Surfin' Safari, the Peppermint Twist, Barbara Ann, The Book of Love, The Great Pretender, Maybe Baby, and that's just disc 1.
Right.
Then you go to disc 2 and you've got Ain't That a Shame, Johnny Be Good, I Only Have Eyes for You, Get a Job, Do You Want to Dance, Come and Go With Me, You're 16, You're Beautiful in Your Mind, Love Potion number 9, Chantilly Lace, Green Onions, Only You, All Summer Long. Like, you want to talk about a soundtrack that is full of heavy hitters. There's some out there that can definitely compete with that, but man, is it difficult. And to think that that's only my number 10 should tell you just what I think of what I have to come. In the words of a film that I watched and just filmed my review of for today. And now for a taste of things to come.
Right.
Like, seriously, that is the lowest of my official list.
Yeah, that was on my list back and forth for a long time. Like, I love the soundtrack, but I just like what I picked. I will say this. The fact that American Graffiti has Rock Around the Clock, and the fact that when you think of how very much so the reason Happy Days exist is because of American Graffiti. Ron Howard and that song.
Original theme song for that.
Yep. So, and again, there's comments coming in throughout. Joe, I love the fact you mentioned Robin Hood because JJ loves him some Disney's Robin Hood. So that's definitely getting us up there. Dazed and Confused is another good soundtrack, but we'll see what JJ has at number 9 and beyond.
And there is only one soundtrack on my top 10 that is older than American Graffiti.
Wow.
Everything else is more modern than that. Most of my picks came from the 90s because that is when my identity was really forged as far as movie and music.
Definitely.
I grew up in the 80s, E.T., Neverending Story, Back to the Future, The Breakfast Club. I could have put a lot of those soundtracks on here, but part of what held me back is a lot of those soundtracks are 1 or 2 hit wonders.
Right.
And for me, if I'm going to rank it as one of my top 10 soundtracks of all time,
Right.
then virtually every track has to hit.
Which is why Batman and Robin and Batman Forever hit more for you than the first two, which I totally get.
Number 9 on my list is one of those where not every track hits, but the soundtrack, it's kind of like what you said about The Graduate.
Right.
The movie is amazing, but would the movie be as amazing without these songs in the soundtrack? I don't know. Pulp Fiction.
Oh, another one I contemplated.
Again, you've got Miserlou by Dick Dale. You've got Jungle Boogie, Al Green, Let's Stay Together. You've got Ricky Nelson, Lonesome Town, Son of a Preacher Man. You've got Chuck Berry, You Never Can Tell. The iconic Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon. The Statler Brothers, Flowers on the Wall, along with little dialogue excerpts mixed in throughout the movie soundtrack. It's just
so good.
It's one of those things. Like, imagine that scene of Travolta and Uma Thurman dancing without You Never Can Tell playing behind them.
Can't. It's a completely dead, boring scene. When you think about how much this movie relaunched John, really got Samuel Jackson, as if he wasn't already awesome, up there another level. Same with Uma Thurman. And then the music behind the three of them and everybody else in that friggin' movie. Everybody and their mothers in that friggin' movie. Again, the music is, yes, a byproduct of the movie, but still very essential.
Yeah. Number 8 on my list is the only soundtrack I have on here for a movie that I have never seen.
Interesting.
But the soundtrack is one of those CDs that, especially when I was on the air at KLBC with Mikey as my co-host, heavy rotation.
I need to get the friggin' tapes of those, by the way. I need to hear that shit.
Number 8 is the Whitney Houston classic, Waiting to Exhale.
I've never seen this either, so there you go.
I mean, you've got classics from her. You've got Exhale, Shoop Shoop, Why Does It Hurt So Bad, and Count on Me, which she does with CeCe Winans. Then you've got Toni Braxton, you've got Brandy, you've got TLC, you've got Mary J. Blige singing Not Gon' Cry, and she's crying throughout the whole goddamn song. If we're being real.
Right.
You got Faith Evans, you know. Those tracks right there alone are amazing. Then you've got Aretha Franklin and Chaka Khan and Patti LaBelle and SWV, and like, holy crap, Batman, for real, this soundtrack was fire back in the days. It really was. Like,
how about a girl power soundtrack? Jesus.
Like, you can argue me that maybe The Bodyguard, but I didn't really appreciate The Bodyguard soundtrack until I saw the film.
Right.
I've loved this CD since it dropped.
Right.
And therein lies the difference.
Yeah, the fact you haven't seen the movie and you still like this one, and you've seen The Bodyguard, and it only became really entrenched with you because of seeing the movie. That is a great soundtrack to me. When you've never even seen the movie and it still just resonates. That's good shit, pal. I love that.
There you go. Number 7 should surprise nobody that it's on my list, but it should surprise people of which one is on my list. And I actually had to go to a general poll. I asked my daughter and I asked my girlfriend, between the original motion picture and essentially the reboot, which soundtrack would you put on? And both of them agreed with me that although the original motion picture and its soundtrack are iconic, 2011's Muppets slightly edged out the original Muppet movie for me.
Oh my.
And here is why, because I can hear the wheels in Jeff's head spinning.
Yeah.
The soundtrack to this movie very much plays out like an episode of The Muppet Show.
Okay.
So much so that it even begins with the original Muppet Show theme.
Yes.
Okay. You've got dialogue from the movie scattered throughout, the backstage segments. You've got the Muppet original songs, Life's a Happy Song, Pictures in My Head, Me Party, Man or Muppet, which was nominated for an Oscar.
As it should have been.
You've got the established artist songs sprinkled throughout. You've got Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard and We Built the City. You've got the Muppets covering popular artists. The Barbershop Quartet doing Smells Like Teen Spirit. Camilla and the Chickens doing Forget You. And then you've got the classic, iconic Rainbow Connection, made even more special by the fact that everybody comes on stage to sing it for the big finale of the telethon, which reduces the Renegade to tears every time.
Every time, both of us.
And then you end it all with the iconic Muppet Show track, Phenomena.
Yes.
That is why that one edged out the Muppet movie for me. Again, as much as I love the original Muppet movie, Rainbow Connection, Moving Right Along, I'm going to go back there someday. Can you picture that? This album, I feel like, just comes with more firepower. Because the original Muppet movie also has some instrumental versions of some of the songs, which I feel, for the overall flow of the album, kind of kills it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm glad you brought this one up, because this is the first time we've done a top 10 since I've done this. You know, but the people that don't, I finally saw Muppets Take Manhattan for the first time in the last couple of weeks, and having you remind me that the song from the commercial where you hear Kermit's voice, and I asked you, who the hell? And you're like, dude, that's Jim. Wait, what? Yeah, that's the scene from Manhattan at the end. Here I am. And I'm like,
look at
I hadn't seen Manhattan. And you're like, you haven't? No, I haven't seen Manhattan. Thank God it's on Tubi.
Right?
Because, like, you can't find that shit anywhere else right now. They're working on it with Disney and Sony still. But, yeah, I finally saw Manhattan. So I've seen the actual Jim was still alive era Muppet movies, finally.
The Jim trilogy.
The Jim trilogy, yes, thank you. So that was cool. But, yeah, the Muppet movie soundtracks are just so... They're good. A lot of them can be hit and miss. I'm not going to lie. There's a few that are just like, ugh. But the original and the 11 Disney launch were both really, really good. Muppets Christmas Carol, of course. You know.
Every Muppet movie soundtrack at least has a moment.
Yes.
The soundtrack as a whole may be hit or miss, but it's at least got one or two moments.
Right.
And like I said, I just feel like this one was hit after hit after hit with the little dialogue to set it up. You know, the pitch before the home run can be swung, knocked out of the ballpark.
Yeah. And again, people have their opinions on the Disney Muppet, acquisition or whatever. And I actually really like the first movie. The one you just mentioned, the 2011. I really enjoyed it, and the soundtrack is so good. It's like when you first put the graphic up, my jaw was down here, but your explanation completely sells me. You're 100% right.
Thank you. Number 6, my halfway marker.
Yes.
We're going to take a little reflection, a little bit back into time. It's still the early 90s, but the movie was set in the 60s. Soundtrack's a reflection of that.
Okay.
We can talk about My Girl.
Oh, Lord, you're going to make me cry, Jay. You suck.
Remember, we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the soundtrack. So
but the music makes you think of the scenes.
You've got The Temptations. You've got More Today Than Yesterday. Hot Fun in the Summertime. Do What Diddy, Good Lovin',
Yes.
Bad Moon Risin', If You Don't Know Me By Now, again, I Only Have Eyes for You, Saturday in the Park, like, again, hit after hit after hit that just takes you back to those simpler times. You know, each one invokes that feel good memory,
As these songs should. That's the thing.
you know, and I love that movie on levels of reasons.
Yes.
But I mean, like, for real, that soundtrack is so underrated. That movie is so underrated.
Yeah.
The sequel is what it is.
Yeah.
But you can't go wrong with the original Anna Chlumsky and Macaulay Culkin, with Dan Aykroyd as her dad, Jamie Lee Curtis, hello, our Halloween scream queen over here.
Yes.
So
again,
good.
if you've not seen My Girl, and again, I know it's freaking damn near, over 30 years old at this point, damn near 40, I think.
Yeah.
No, 30, 31 this year. I'm sorry. It is a must see, especially if you've got, kids that age that are starting to really come of age, and they'll appreciate it more. I mean, I saw it when it came out. I was 8 and I got it, and it hit me right in the feels like a mucker feather. But watching it back now is even worse as far as the feels of it. But it's so good, and the music is so good too.
You sit there and you watch it and you can't help but smile.
Yeah.
All the way through the movie until
Yeah.
He dies.
Yeah, and yeah, from that
And
point on,
then you're just your stomach is doing somersaults because you're waiting to see how she's going to react to it. And then she stumbles into that funeral scene. And to this day, I say that is the most gut-wrenching scene in cinema history.
Yeah.
She walks in there and she sees him without his glasses and she just breaks down.
Yeah, it's awful.
And if you consider yourself a person with a soul and you do not get emotional watching that scene, then thank you for tuning in, and go ahead and unsubscribe, because you probably have no business watching any of our shows if you do not get emotional at that scene.
Wait. Let's not get crazy here. Wait a minute. Just go watch the movie. Just go watch the movie and just believe. Anyway, okay, there you go. Scare me like that, Williams. Anyway. All right, so you said you're halfway now, or
yeah, we are now to my number 5.
Okay.
And this is another one where the movie, I don't think, ended up performing as good as the soundtrack did. Okay, I adore this movie that the soundtrack is attached to. But unless you were a child growing up in the 90s, and especially a child who was into urban movies and hip-hop music like I was, chances are you don't know nothing about Sunset Park.
Oh, I guess Dangerous Minds.
No. But you look at that soundtrack right there, okay, and you've got Tupac, Ghostface Killer featuring Raekwon the Chef, The Dog Pound, Mobb Deep, Aaliyah, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte and Escape, 69 Boys and the Quad City DJs, Junior Mafia. Again, you're talking about another soundtrack that is just hit after hit after hit. Virtually every artist that I just rattled off there had a music video for their song.
Yes.
Or if they didn't have an official video, it was still released as a single to the proper radio stations to get some rotation and some spin, because they were all heavy hitters. And then you figure that the movie stars Rhea Perlman, Mrs. Danny DeVito.
That's right.
You've got Fredro Starr from Onyx. You've got a very young Terrence Howard, way before he became Rhodey, way before Hustle and Flow, way before Empire, as the character Spaceman, who's known for hiding out in the back of the bus and getting high every game. Don't give the ball to Spaceman. He crazy. Yeah. So
again, I love the same thing, Brandon. So there you go.
Dangerous Minds, though, is one of those movies where I think because of Gangsta's Paradise, even people that are like of today's standard know of that movie.
True, very true.
Sunset Park is one of those that kind of slipped under the radar, and I will be getting to Sunset Park at some point, either for like Black History Month or if I do a month of basketball movies, because at the end of the day, it's the Mighty Ducks, but it's an urban basketball team.
Right.
There are a bunch of misfits who can't win a game until the coach comes in, whips their butt into shape, and they go to finals.
There you go.
Does that not sound like the Mighty Ducks? I'm just saying.
Pretty much.
Number 4 on my list is the only soundtrack that is older than American Graffiti.
Okay.
And it is the only other true musical that is in my countdown. Help.
Oh, jeez. What's the matter with me? I didn't realize this. Come on now, Jeff.
Ironically, this is another one where I went to outside sources for assistance. I asked again, my daughter and my girlfriend, A Hard Day's Night or Help. It was like, now don't think about the UK releases that were 13 tracks. You've got to think about the original motion picture soundtracks.
Right.
So you eliminate Yesterday, which is on the UK release of this.
Okay.
You eliminate some of the stuff on A Hard Day's Nights album.
Right.
It's like based off of the 6 or 7 or 8 or however many songs that define the soundtrack to the movie, which one is better? And we all agreed that the combination of the title track, Help, The Night Before, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, I Need You, Another Girl, You're Gonna Lose That Girl, and the now iconic Ticket to Ride made this one the more standout album overall.
I am mad at myself for not realizing you'd have a Beatles thing on here somewhere, because they had such good movies when they were cooking, and they all had great soundtracks. So there you go, good stuff.
Even if the movie was garbage, that's the mystery tour. I'm looking at you. The album was iconic
because of the Beatles. So there you
go. You know, Yellow Submarine was half songs, half score by George Martin.
Right.
It wasn't until the 1999 or 2000 Yellow Submarine soundtrack was released that album got a little bit better because of the inclusion of songs that were omitted from the original motion picture soundtrack.
Right.
And then Let It Be is what it is. You know,
right.
If it weren't for the Get Back sessions and that movie that Peter Jackson assembled, Let It Be is the demise of the Beatles. And who really wants to sit through an hour 40 depressing minutes watching the greatest rock and roll band of all time crumble in front of you?
Right.
You don't want to do that.
No.
So it comes down to A Hard Day's Night and Help. The original and the second movie. You don't really call it a sequel because they're not connected, but the original and the second one. A Hard Day's Night is the better film. Help's got the better soundtrack. Personal opinion. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments.
I actually like Scott's take here. Beyond the Mat's got a good, and again, he even concedes that it's more of a documentary than a movie, but it's still a film. So I will agree, and I think it definitely does deserve consideration. I think there's a lot of good, solid stuff behind the stories that we see in that documentary. So not a bad take at all there, Scott, at all.
Yeah.
I like the freaking spam today. Jesus Christ. Keep me busy.
Right? Number 3 on my list, much like number 4, is the only other soundtrack on my list where one artist does the entire soundtrack.
Okay.
And it's the only representation of country music that I have.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I knew it.
Pure country.
Knew that was coming as soon as you said that.
I mean, I know that a lot of our fans are not huge country fans. I get it. But I mean, this album right here, these 11 tracks are essentially a greatest hits album in of themselves.
Right?
There really is not a bad song on this album. From the title track, Heartland, which is the first and last song, because there's 2 different versions in the movie, to I Cross My Heart, which is a wedding staple and has been ever since this movie came out.
So good.
When Did You Stop Loving Me? Overnight Mail, which is probably my favorite song on this album, if I'm being 100% with everybody.
Wow.
That is just such a catchy song, and it's such a great double entendre.
True.
Because he's talking about it, you know, in the aspect of let me be your mailman. But
right.
when you look at it, it's M-A-L-E.
Yes.
You know, there's a little bit more risque going on in these lyrics than what the surface leads you to believe.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like the Pony Express and the Wild Wild West, I'll ride hard all night long. Whoa, George. Whoa.
Easy there,
Skippy. All that.
That's it.
You know, you've got the King of Broken Hearts, which every time I see that track, I think of Owen.
Yeah.
Where the Sidewalk Ends, which is how Dusty ends all of his concerts in the movie. And then again, the reprise of Heartland with George and his son singing the song. His son, who now co-writes and helps him produce his albums, because yeah, it's been freaking 30 years since that album came out.
Yeah.
Such a great soundtrack.
It really is.
Such a great movie.
It's one of those. It's one of the ones I hadn't seen until I met you. It was just, even my dad went, hell, even I've seen Pure Country, Jeff. Jesus. But it's great. It's really good. Can't argue with a minute of what you just said. So good.
Going back to what Big G said earlier, I told you it was coming. Number 2, Space Jam.
Yeah, but God, look at that. Look at the artist listing alone. Can we just take all the damn money, please?
Seriously, like, you want to talk about another album where, although a compilation of artists, every song is basically a hit.
Right?
Seal for Fly Like an Eagle, Coolio the Winner, Quad City DJ Space Jam, R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly.
Yeah.
Be Real, Busta Rhymes, Coolio, LL Cool J, and Method Man. Hit 'em High, the Monstars Anthem.
So good.
That was the song me and Mikey used to come on the air to every week on the radio station.
Okay, I'm going to call it BC.
Yeah. Because the way it started, greeting Earthlings, we have now taken over your radio. That is the exact reason why that was our entry song every week on the air.
Long Beach City, if you're watching this, you need to send me these tapes of these people doing these shows. Anyway, carry on.
Monica, For You I Will.
Right?
Barry White and Chris Rock. All for One doing I Turn to You. The same I Turn to You that Christina Aguilera did. R. Kelly again with Changing Faces and Jay-Z. The Spin Doctors and Biz Markie. Bugs Bunny doing a track called Buggin'.
That's right.
Who says the bunny can't rock? You're bugging.
That's right.
And then, of course, got to tie it to wrestling. D'Angelo here doing Shawn Michaels' song, I Found My Smile Again.
Damn it.
Because I do
ironically, during the year that he lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, ironically, the same year that he lost his smile, 96. There you go.
So,
Shit.
But Space Jam is just so iconic. And
such a good album.
The music videos, again, were insane.
Yes.
No surprise, Hit 'em High was my favorite track on the album.
Oh,
you get that much star power on a track and there's no egos. Hello?
Yeah.
So good.
Yes.
So iconic. And you want to talk about iconic. We're going to come full circle here. We talked to my number 10 about how with a track listing like that, in American Graffiti, there's very few, although some, that can compare.
Right.
Mr. Meacham, I see my American Graffiti and I raise it. Forrest Gump.
Oh, so good. Another one I really contemplated, and it missed the list so closely. It's hanging onto the edge of it at my fingertips right now. So good.
I think it's easier on this CD to count the songs that I don't care for,
right,
as opposed to counting the ones that I like.
Yeah.
Because I only see like 1 or 2 songs on here where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna skip that one.
Yeah.
Everything else was, is, and forever will be a classic. And this isn't even every song that was in the movie.
Oh, no.
Because they had to leave stuff out.
Yeah.
But Elvis Presley, you've got Wilson Pickett, you've got Creedence Clearwater, the Four Tops, Aretha Franklin, Bob Dylan, the Beach Boys, the Mamas and the Papas, the Buffalo Springfield, Jackie DeShannon, the Doors, Simon and Garfunkel, and again, that's just disc 1. Then you go to disc 2 and you've got the Jefferson Airplane, you got Scott McKenzie, the Byrds, the Fifth Dimension, Harry Nilsson, Three Dog Night, B.J. Thomas, Randy Newman, Leonard Skinner, Jackson Brown, the Doobies, Gladys Knight and her Pips, Fleetwood Mac, Willie Nelson, Bob Seger, and the title track done by, dare I say, one of the only people that can seriously compete with John Williams as far as his themes go, Alan Silvestri.
Again,
no disrespect to Danny Elfman, those are probably the 3 biggest names in music producing.
Yeah.
As far as soundtracks and scores.
Yeah. I mean, Alan topped my list. Again, think about that. Forrest Gump is here for you. Back to the Future where it was for me. Both Zemeckis, both Alan Silvestri. Did we lose you? Oh, no. He just... Okay, sorry.
It's just...
Damn good list. Dare say. It's so good the spammers are crossing over to your channel just to try to get involved. The show's so good.
Right?
Assholes.
But seriously, I mean, the only... And I seriously went back and forth about where I wanted to put Graffiti and Gump.
Right. Yeah.
Because,
They're both so good.
Like our good buddy Harvey Dent, they're 2 sides of the same coin at the end of the day.
Good to see you, Matt. You're late to the game, my friend, but please go back and watch us on demand. It was a fun show.
Without question.
100%. And you know what? Scott's 100% right. You haven't made it. So, JJ, you may not be monetized, damn it. You may not have the watch hours yet, but you have had a porn bot on your stream now. Congratulations. You have made it, my friend. Bravo.
Woo-hoo.
Bravo.
God damn it, Jeff.
Bitch. Oh, God. Also, Vince and No DQ are like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, great stuff. I love it. I love the, and again, there were a lot on your, and again, like you said, we went different directions. I went with score more than soundtrack. You went with soundtrack more than score, but it made for a perfect thing because we didn't have any duplicates, which I love, and we were able to compliment each other. It's like I said, I am hard pressed to argue with Alan Silvestri, John Williams, and Danny Elfman on anybody's anything. So the fact that we both had one or the other on either of our lists just says everything about those guys. So,
yeah.
I love it. I dig it. All right. Well, now that I know that you've gone through, I can go back over here into the graphics section, if you will.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit coming up this week. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you being a good boy and not wandering over there.
Well, I had to stay in comments anyway, thanks to these asshats. So it's put it this way: I had the site, the StreamYard up, and I had either one of our networks up just to make sure I caught everything. It was a busy stream, Lordy. But
while we go through and show what is coming up for both of us over the course of the week on our respective channels,
yes,
we've still got about 25 minutes until Raw left. If you
yes.
guys have any questions, we will throw this to an Ask the Dads for the remainder of the show. So get those questions in. We'll address them as we can before the show goes off.
Yeah. It went up far enough where I lost it in the stream here, but Good Morning Vietnam was also mentioned. Not a bad choice either. Good Morning Vietnam's a damn good soundtrack. So
I've never seen it, which is probably why it's not.
I haven't either.
More implanted in my head.
I haven't either, but the soundtrack's freaking bomb. I love it.
So we'll start with that. If this is the first you are seeing me today, then once this goes off the air, if you're not watching Raw, if you are a Hulu viewer like I am, then go back to Renegade's reviews and check out my review of Young Guns 2, which aired just prior to us going on the air here today. Young Guns 2 is definitely my favorite of the pair, so you're going to have to listen to me discuss it for a good 20 minutes.
But it's worth every bit of the 20 plus, man. I'll tell you what.
Especially if you don't want to sit through the hour 40-minute movie. Me for 20, watch the hour 40. You decide.
I recommend both. Young Guns 2 was that good.
But if you only do one, watch me because I need the viewership hours to go.
This is also true. There you go. Again. Danger Zone was part of my Jiminy Crickets Almighty.
Again?
Yeah, on yours this time again. Anyway, Jesus. Anyway, Danger Zone was so much a part of my life without having seen Top Gun at that point.
Yeah.
I only knew it because of Top Gun Tower. So there you go. Anyway.
So yeah, I just went and saw Maverick yesterday, and they started the movie out with Danger Zone. And I swear to God, Jeff, if I had gone through that entire movie and not heard Danger Zone once, I would have bruised it and demanded my money back afterwards.
You've been screaming, goddammit, for 2 hours.
You cannot have a Top Gun movie and not have Danger Zone.
No. And if you want reference to what he's talking about with Bruce, you have to go back and watch one of the old shows we did, or when Bruce comes back on, which he will be in the near future, he'll tell you. He'll gladly tell you that story.
Yeah. So there's that. Then tomorrow on the Jeff Meacham Network and all of its affiliate platforms.
Yes.
The Mothership.
Yeah, this
Talk Wrestling.
Yes.
Wednesday, I will be back with my review of National Treasure.
Woo-woo!
The Nick Cage historical scavenger hunt flick, as I've been plugging it.
For what it's worth, Brendan is saying Top Gun's the best sequel he's ever seen. It's hard to argue. I have not seen it myself yet, but everybody I'm talking to is saying it was well worth the however many freaking 30-year wait or whatever it was.
36.
Crazy.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I don't know if I can say it's the best sequel I have ever seen, because you got to figure that you're saying that it's better than The Empire Strikes Back, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, Aliens, The Bride of Frankenstein. There's some serious heavy hitter sequels out there in movie lore,
which we talked about, I believe. So
yeah, we did a show of our top 10 favorite sequels.
It's back in the archives, kids.
Yes, go back and revisit it.
A lot.
Again, it'll help boost up viewership.
Right. Watch them all. Yeah,
but I mean, it's damn good.
It is.
I will say that. But the best sequel of all time, that's a tall one there.
It definitely belongs on our list now. If we ever redid that show, not right away, if you just did that recently since the relaunch, but it's definitely in the discussion now, from what I've understood. So I can't wait to see it personally. I'm looking forward to it.
So after National Treasure on Wednesday, make sure you tune into the Jeff Meacham Network and the Greg Cherry brand for another brand new installment of the Greg Cherry Show. On Thursday, over on the Casa D18 Studios channel,
busy day Thursday,
I'll be taking a look at the newest chapter of the Obi-Wan Kenobi saga.
Yes.
After that, I will be making my return. Well, I guess you could say the debut, since I was only more.
It's the review debut. Yes.
My return to NoDQ.com for the first time since 2010.
Wow.
If you think about it, yeah, that SummerSlam at Bob's was
Jesus,
the first.
that was 12 years ago. God
the
damn.
First and to date only time I was on NoDQ proper.
Yeah, it was kind of like a flyby cameo with everybody else in the damn restaurant. This is you in a seat, and you as official and everything.
Yeah, I will be on the NoDQ review this Thursday. I am so looking forward to it.
So I'm looking forward to watching it. Are you kidding me? That's going to be awesome. But before we get to the next plug, there's a couple of things here. Is there another movie in the 80s and 90s you'd like to see a sequel to, like you did with Top Gun? Shit.
It's funny you say that, because I actually had a sequel that I came up with. God, it was probably about 10 years ago now itself that I came up with this idea. And I actually kind of pitched it to one of the actors from the movie.
Right.
Because we had gone to a Comic-Con or whatever, and the woman that played Ferris Bueller's mom was there.
Nice.
And I kind of pitched to her a sequel to Ferris Bueller. Ferris and Sloane are now married. They have a kid.
Yep.
And their kids, got to be something done about your kids, Marty. Their kids just don't seem to reflect who Ferris was.
Oh.
So Ferris takes a day off of work to show his kid how to live in the moment.
Nice. I like that. That's a cool pitch.
Like he says, you got to stop and smell the roses once in a while.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was kind of my pitch, is like, his kids are just a little too stuffy, maybe a little bit too much influence from Uncle Cameron.
Yes.
And Ferris is just like, how is this my kid? And he has to show them how to have fun again.
There you go. Brandon likes it.
Or you can even flip it on its head, where Ferris, being so jaded from being in the workforce for all these years, has forgotten how to have fun.
A la Hook.
And his kids have to show him once again how to make the most out of life.
Brendan also points out another good soundtrack was Goonies. I thought that another good honorable mention there.
Other than The Goonies Are Good Enough, though, by Cyndi Lauper, what other song was there really to hook and sell the album? That was what I was trying to stay away from. That's the only reason that Back to the Future wasn't on my list. Because aside from Power of Love and Back in Time, that's 2 out of 10. That's not even a quarter of the soundtrack.
No, but
you've got to at least have 50% of the soundtrack to have my attention.
Okay. Well, again, that's in between score and soundtrack. See, I think the whole score of that just sucks me in. So
then, in addition to the No DQ review,
yes, oh man, oh yeah,
Jeff Meacham and whoever he can wrangle, I am assuming.
Yes, pretty much.
We'll be discussing 2 decades of TNA wrestling, the history of Impact.
Crazy that Sunday is 20 years of it. TNA.
I still cannot believe that is 20 years old this week.
It's bonkers. It's completely bonkers that it was 20 years ago coming up on Sunday that we saw the Dragon walk out with this, and we were like, whoa, I know that. It's crazy.
Yeah. On
Good
Friday,
Scott, but we'll do the plugs here because we want to make sure we get through these too. So
on Friday, we will return to National Treasure, and this time take a look at the Book of Secrets.
Which I still need to see.
Get on it.
I'm on it.
So good. Almost as good as the original. Definitely inferior, but not by much.
Yeah. I told the kiddo about the scene with the Declaration of Independence Hall. He was trying to call BS. I'm like, oh, okay. Every freaking site I could find that says where that scene was filmed. And he was like, damn it. I said, yeah, so now you going.
There you go.
You are going. If you drag my ass to Knots again, you're going across the street first this time. I done told you, child.
Yes.
Anyway.
Friday night on the hidden Jeff Meacham Twitters, away from the Mouska Mafia.
Yes. And
50 years of the Electrical Parade.
The greatest part is I had my dear friend Catherine, who recently celebrated the anniversary, one of my favorite people in the world, actually offered up her footage that she had been able to shoot when she went. Dude, I showed you the video from Monday. I got such good shit. Yeah. Fantastic, I botched a little bit because I was trying to get set with the camera, so I couldn't have used that if I had done it 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I was so. You can definitely tell I'm bebopping in the early part of the parade, but it's still every bit worth watching. So much fun. Anyway, that'll be Friday night late night Friday after Rampage. So
on Saturday,
woo!
New release Saturday.
Yes, sir.
White Elephant, starring Michael Rooker, Bruce Willis, John Malkovich, and Olga Kurylenko.
There you go.
Who played the Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie.
Yes.
Then on Sunday, once again, we will step into the War Zone, the weekly acquisition report, and take a look at some of the newest additions to my ever-growing movie library. Followed immediately by the Jeff Meacham Network and their full coverage, as we just touched on, the 20th anniversary of Impact Wrestling.
So,
and I have to say, based off of what I am seeing for the card so far,
right,
I am most looking forward to the Originals versus Honor No More.
Yes, so good.
I want them to announce whoever the 4th person is going to be. This is how I would book it. Fantasy Booking 101, I know.
That's right.
Hope and a prayer. Book number 4, whoever it's going to be. Leaning towards either Samoa Joe or the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. Okay.
Okay.
And then Sunday at the show, have Honor No More come out to the ring. Have the 4 originals come out and have them ask who number 5 is. Have the beat drop, and as a thank you for Mickie James having competed in the Royal Rumble, here comes the phenomenal one.
Dude.
AJ Styles.
Dude, if I am drops, if I am drops on that, you're going to hear me hit the floor in this room. Boom, off I go. Get passed out from the sheer shock of it all. It will be a thing. But yeah.
That is how I would book it.
So Noah took this weekend off. There was a couple different things happening. He ended up being able to see both shows, which was cool for him. But yeah, he took the weekend off, and first thing he says to me this morning is, "Dude, can't wait for Sunday." I'm like, "Man, Sunday, I got a whole week to go. I have stuff to do." But yeah, Sunday's gonna be fun.
And then, of course, next Monday we will be back here with another brand new installment of Ask the Dads. Immediately following, well, not immediately following, but
close enough.
At the top of the hour after Mortal Kombat goes off the air.
Is Mortal Kombat, is it not in there? I thought I put it in there. Did I forget to put it in there? There it is. There we go.
You had them flip-flopped 4 o'clock above the 3 o'clock, so that's why I didn't notice it at first. But you've got the Mortal Kombat logo there on the curtain.
Right. Jesus Christ, man, they're getting freaking busy all of a sudden. Damn. Anyway, great stuff coming up. I do want to make sure I get to, well, first of all, Michael said, I hope they do a third. It really depends on what they do at this point, number one. Number two, there's so much that they can't PC touch these days. It'd be an interesting challenge, for sure.
Well, they're supposed to have a Disney Plus original series coming out, National Treasure, in lieu of a third movie.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know if any of the principals are going to be back.
Right.
I think it would be hard to do National Treasure without Nick Cage and Justin Bartha, especially.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because their chemistry was so good. And it's something I talk about on my reviews of those movies, which you'll have to tune into.
Right.
But, yeah, they're supposed to be doing a TV series for it, much like they did Game Changers. You know, so far down the road, let's not do a movie, let's do a series for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment.
The only problem I feel about it is, number one, are they going to get any of the principals back?
Right.
And number two, doing essentially a 6-hour miniseries, while it can add a little bit more to it, I feel like it can drag a little bit, because those movies being roughly 2 hours, they flow so well with the beats and where they need to go and cracking the clue and moving on to the next one. If every episode is essentially them discovering one clue, that's just going to make it drag way too long.
Well, if they pace it like they paced Obi-Wan, it'll be okay, though. We'll see.
I don't know. There's a couple spots of Obi-Wan that I feel drag a little bit.
A little bit.
Exposition.
Yeah.
You figure, again, this is essentially a 6-hour movie. How much of what we are seeing would be chopped if it was a 2.5-hour movie?
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
You've got to stretch things out because of it being in a TV format.
Very true. So our buddy Brendan is actually going to be at Disneyland in November. So we may have to try to make a reservation or at least hit downtown to say hello.
Yes. Yes. If we cannot get a reservation, because you got to figure November 10th through the 14th, while Christmas time at the parks is moving into Christmas time. So, you know, got to start putting that money to the side. But a downtown Disney trip definitely could be in order.
We'll definitely look into that, Brendan. Yeah, because it's, I mean, more so for me, it's easy because I can just transit, not to worry about paying to park at Disney, which, you know, Jay, if he drives, has to park there. So it's expensive to park. Even downtown Disney is expensive to park, as I found out recently.
I've never seen Remember the Titans, so I'm not familiar with the soundtrack.
I haven't seen it in so long. I don't remember either. That's a good point. Let's see. Scott asked earlier, is there a movie is there a movie you think that came out a long time ago that you would think of done better today, or even the other way around? So I think, is there a movie that came out back in the old days that would be better made now, or they shouldn't have made now that they was better back then? God, there's a lot on that. There's a lot of meat on that particular bone. There's so many good movies that remakes did turn out better, or sequels turned out better, or rebooted franchises turned out better. I mean, you think about Superman Returns and how much was invested in that, and it just didn't hit. Yeah. And then Man of Steel, for as much as it dragged, the first one, the DCU, while people consider hit and miss, they really couldn't have done it any better to start out with. Man of Steel, at the end of the day, was a damn good original story to it. So there's a lot of different. I mean, God, I think the Batman, the one that just came out, is a good sign that you can go back and not rehash the same story, but rehash a old character with, an old dog with some new tricks. I thought the Batman was very well done. I look forward to the stuff in the future.
Batman is going to be one of those characters that is always relevant, though. I mean, you figure pretty much every generation has had their version, whether it was Adam West, Michael Keaton, Kilmer and Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and now Robert Pattinson.
Very true.
It's just one of those characters, much like Superman.
Yes.
George Reeves, Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill.
And even Dean Cain on television. So
yeah, Dean Cain on TV, and Tom Welling from Smallville.
Yeah. On the flip side, Back to the Future. Do not remake. Do not touch those damn movies. I don't care how much money Universal throws at whoever. Leave that shit alone.
Yeah,
I beg of you.
Perfect example. If Back to the Future came out today, it would flop.
Yeah, it would.
Big time.
Yep.
Because there's not as much fascination about time travel as there was in the 80s. Right.
Yeah, there's no reason to remake that movie or redo it or reboot it or whatever. And, Zemeckis even said on Back in Time, well, I suppose they could, if my kids needed money or whatever, they could. I hope they don't, because there's no reason to. It's, I know we go gaga on that movie and whatever, but if there's ever a movie series or a thing that should not be touched, it is Back to the Future. They were perfect for the time, and just do not need any rehashing. And I appreciate the clarification. As far as remakes that just bombed, God, JJ's the movie guy. There's been a few we've talked about on that list for sure.
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
You know what?
Now, in all seriousness,
but he's right.
One movie that they remade, I wouldn't say that ruined it, but basically wasn't given the opportunity to get off the ground, is the Power Rangers reboot.
Yes.
So many people hated the fact that the Rangers didn't get zapped in by Zordon, given their powers, and turn into Rangers within 25 minutes, like the old TV show, that they just crapped on it.
Yeah.
Oh no. Let's put some exposition, some storytelling into this. Make the Rangers start to gel together as a team before they earn the right to morph.
Yep.
Heaven help us.
Right.
They've got to come together and learn to be a team before the Morphin Grid accepts them and gives them their powers. Billy got his powers first because he got it.
Yep.
The other 4 took a while.
Yeah. As you would expect from a group of teenagers.
But had they understood the storytelling that was going on, we'd be able to still get the sequel that was set up with the introduction of Tommy Oliver in the post-credits scene.
Yep. But again.
But now we don't get arguably the greatest Power Ranger that ever lived because y'all couldn't accept what was being done in storytelling.
No.
And I'm not talking specifically to those watching it because maybe our audience actually got it, but the general movie-going public en masse didn't get it.
No. So I want to ask you this, because I don't think you and I really talked a lot about this particular thing that's coming out, and we'll kind of start to wrap it up here because we're getting close to the top of the hour here. I know that you and Rob Zombie movies that based on beloved things are not your cup of tea. But having seen the trailer, having talked to the gentleman playing Herman, having talked to a few people involved, I am much less skeptical than I was about the Munsters movie. And knowing how much of a fan Rob is of the original series, I have hope. What say you?
I have not seen the trailer yet.
Okay.
So I am just going off of what I know about the movie in general. And Sherry Moon Zombie as Lily Munster.
Oh boy.
That is where I am perplexed. And until I see, not willing to budge on my stance.
I would say watch the teaser that they put out, because that helped me a lot with Sherry, really did. Because I love Sherry, I always have, but her in the movies has been like, ugh. This is one actually I have a little bit of hope.
The guy they've got playing Herman, okay.
Right.
The guy they've got playing Grandpa, okay.
Right.
Sherry Moon Zombie as Lily Munster.
I mentioned this the other day. I forget what show it was on. It may have been with you, so I apologize if it was. But the fact that the principal 3 are Mrs. Myers, the owner of the strip club, and the security guard from the strip club in part 2 of Halloween, of Rob Zombie's Halloween, is probably what's making it not so happy for you. And I get that. I get it. But yeah, watch the teaser. I won't explain why I told her out there. I don't want to ruin for everybody else. But yeah, watch the teaser trailer and let me know after that. And we will finish with Mr. Gonzalez, because this is a hot take. It really is for me. He likes the Peter Jackson King Kong better than the 33 Universal original. I grew up on the originals because of the little those ugly orange books I've talked about so many times with you talking about horror movies, Universal movies. I actually didn't mind the Peter Jackson version, but I don't like it better than 33 at all. That's not even a consideration for me. But it's also a different time and a different audience. You get figure this is 72 years after the fact. So, you're going to have a different audience watching it. Very few people that went and saw King Kong in 1933 are going to go see King Kong in a theater in 2005. So it's a totally different experience.
I have yet to see Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Okay.
However, I'm going to leave it at this, and then we can do our goodbyes.
Okay.
However, I have yet to see a remake of a Universal Monster movie that was better than the original. Number one.
Right.
And with the exception of the Beatles Get Back saga, which was difficult in and of itself.
Right.
I have yet to see a Peter Jackson film that I didn't fall asleep to.
True. Yes. Cool Brothers, you missed a hell of an hour. I'll leave it at that. It's just I've been playing delete the spams for an hour. So is Jay. God bless him. Ratnick,
as we said earlier, you know you've made it when you get porn spam bots entering your videos.
I'm not sure why this.
I've made it now, Cool Brothers.
I'm not sure why that comment got held. Hopefully it pops up. Ratnick said, if Back to the Future was made today, Marty would go back to 1992. Damn, that's the horrible thought.
Right?
That's right. 30 years is okay. So as Jay and I wander off to go find our walkers and our hair dye,
and when he goes in the future, he'd go to 2052.
Jesus Christ. All right, so we're gonna go off the screen and put our teeth in. And
here's one more for you. When he goes back to his parents, it would be 1962. Oh no! Wait, never mind.
No.
Like that.
No.
Because we're getting more spam bots.
That's okay. If he went back 100 years, it would be 1890. No, yeah, 1892. No. I'm sorry. No, 100 years would be 1922. Holy crap! It would be during the Depression.
That would be interesting to see.
That'd be scary.
That one would be interesting to see. But yeah.
Yeah. 1992. It's like if they go back to May of '92, I'm okay with it because I can see Fantasmic again. I'm all right with that. But actually, no, Universal.
To see his parents in 1992, that would be a trip because '92 was Wayne's World.
Oh Jesus, that's true.
Good night, everybody.
That's it. We're done. Good night, kids. We're done. We're out of here. Good Lord. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Jeff Feature Network for Talk Wrestling. JJ's on all week with hella good reviews. National Treasure and Part 2 and White Elephant and the War Zone and Mortal Kombat next Monday.
And my No DQ review debut this
And he's going to be on the No DQ review. His first time on No DQ proper, officially in a seat with his own display thing, with his name and everything. So I'm looking forward to that. I might be on next week because we're going to lead into the AW pay-per-view next week. So I might be on with them next week to talk about that. But check out everything we got going on. Yes, the porn bots were annoying, but you know what? I had fun anyway. This was a great show. Tune into Raw if you dare. If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow after you watch Raw on Hulu like Jay and I do. For the Renegade, I am the Meech. We will see you guys tomorrow and every day this week. Thank you, Scott. Congratulations to you. Thank you again for the super chat. Thank you to Big G for the super chat. We will see you guys